The corner, the corner, the corner.
Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you'll find real, authentic conversation, organic conversation, unscripted, unfiltered conversation, like you're home with your cousin. It's all about life. It's about finance. It's about spirituality. It's about love and everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey. So sit back and listen in as we dive into a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on with an array of thoughts and opinions. My goal is to create a space all for us to connect and communicate. It's not really about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy it. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about
The corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. What's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? It's your boy, Cousin Ed. Yes, indeed. Back with another one, Cousin Ed's Corner. Hopefully, everybody's doing well today. I'm going to try to get this one out real quick. It is a corner connection. I'm going to do a corner connection real quick for Cousin Ed's Corner. And it's talking about tech. So, as I sit here as a IT professional for over 25 years, possibly. Yeah, almost 25 years now. IT professional going from college straight into the workforce. I'm seeing a large shift in the last couple of years, last 2 to 3 years, especially with AI. And I wanted to give you some of the tools that I use, possibly, but not also just to dispel some of the thoughts behind AI. Right? So AI is a great tool. I've been using it for forever, right? But they didn't call it AI. They didn't call it artificial intelligence. They just called it coding or compiling or just algorithms. The way the computer can pick up on things for you and answer questions for you, right? A calculator you could think is AI, right? Often artificial intelligence that is actually doing math that you would have to do by hand, right? But it's so advanced now that it's taking outside data. And I remember back when I was at AT&T, they came out with this big term, big data. And to try to start understanding what big data was, it says we're collecting all of this information. We can use it to predict things, right? So you went to the store, Kroger gave you a Kroger app, and you bought milk every third time you come. So they know on your second visit, the next visit you need milk. So now they can start pushing milk out to you as a coupon, right? TV shows, right? They know that you watch certain shows, but then you fast forward through certain commercials. But you like to watch this one commercial, so they start pumping that ad towards you. So they're taking data and they're analyzing it and finding rhythms and patterns within the data. So that's where it first for me started, was big data, taking in all the data they can, and then that's why you have these supercomputers. What is it processing? It's processing all of that data and coming back with its predictions. So with AI now, they're taking all this data and saying, okay, not only did you buy milk on this occasion, but you bought flour. You might be making a pie, so I'm gonna give you a pie crust, or not pie, but you're making a cake. So I'm also going to give you the oil, give you eggs, everything you may need for that. So it starts to put stuff together when you start buying certain items, right? Every time you buy chicken, you buy barbecue sauce. Things like that they start putting together. Now, I gave you the shopping experience, but if you are putting you think about we're using it now for letters and for schoolwork, right? So it's compiling all the papers that have been put in for um, the study of the Obama presidency, right? So they're pulling all the stuff from the Obama presidency from the news, and now they're saying, okay, I want to find out his 10 best accomplishments. So they go into all the news articles and pull in the most common 10 best accomplishments that they came across on the news and it came across on the internet, and it's going to compile that in a voice to give back to you that these are the 10 best accomplishments we found for President Obama. So before you had to go and research it, find them, pull them yourself, it's doing a lot of the research for you. Now, a lot of people are using this for their greater good. And I think of AI as a tool, right? Some people don't like tools. Some people don't like change, right? Some people don't like calculators, right? Funny story about my mother. When she first moved to Georgia, we're from New York. She didn't like that you had to have a GPS, right? She hated that you had to have a GPS. She was like, I don't want a GPS. I can use my maps. You know how to use maps. She was coming from New York. She pulled out a map and get anywhere she wanted to go. Guy at the job said, you need a GPS. The only way you can get around Georgia is a GPS. And she fought it for years. Not a year. She fought it for some time, right? So eventually she said, I need this GPS. Can you program it for, this trip? And eventually the maps came on your phone. She said, can you send me the direction? And now she puts it in with no problem. She just says, hey, take me to XYZ, and the phone takes her there. That's somewhat artificial intelligence doing it for you instead of you having to pull that map out. I give this analogy when I'm teaching as well, right? I've worked with educators, and when I first started, they were changing out chalkboards and putting in touch panel boards, right? I don't want to use this computer. Why you got to take the chalkboard? Nothing wrong with it. Why you got to take the whiteboard? Nothing wrong with it. I've been using this for years. Da 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 da. Right. So I gave this analogy, and you may have heard it on one of my other shows. Where I grew up in Brooklyn, on Flatbush Avenue, big up Flatbush. If you look at old pictures of Flatbush, right, they were horse and carriage going down Flatbush Avenue. And as time went on, they would end up putting in Charlie horses, the rail line with the train with the power, right? Put that in. Then it went on and they put in, Ford came out with a car. Cars came down. All this time you had a guy on the corner who was a blacksmith, who was the one changing the horse's shoes, right? Changing the horse shoes, making new hoofs and everything for the horses. He had to change his business concept to innovate and come along with the train rails, and how can he bring people to come into his shop now since they're getting off here. Then he had to change his shop into a mechanic shop to start fixing the Ford cars, right? And then today, that same shop is still a mechanic shop, but it's an auto body shop because everybody has a car now. He can do even more. So he innovated his shop and changed his business practice altogether, right? The same thing with us. We must change our business practice, our thinking and our mind, like Blockbuster, who waited around and didn't change, right? Or you think about Netflix. Netflix is now the leader in media over all of the other media companies. When you had, like I said, Blockbuster was one of the main ones. But what's the Redbox and all the other companies who didn't change their model? We as humans have to change our model with time and technology. So I'm gonna give you some key tips that I use for AI. If you are a Android person, you have AI built into your phones nowadays. It's Gemini. Gemini comes with your account. So your Google account has Gemini tied to it. Not a bad AI system. Now, the information you put in, do I want to put in my medical records? No. You want to put in general information, right? If you're looking up how to lower your blood pressure, yes. But don't put in your whole MyChart account, right? Another one, which is tied back to Meta, which is Facebook, but it's built into WhatsApp and in Facebook. You see the blue little circle. you can actually have conversations with that one to ask questions as well. So I'm not sure what their AI is called. I was using Chat GPT. I was using Chat GPT for a while. I have transitioned due to some of their political stance with our current White House. So I transitioned to mainly using Claude. So Claude AI is my main source. Inside of Claude, you can set up different projects. They call it projects. So it's something that you're continuously doing, something you're going to do week after week, or day after day. You can set up a project for, let's say, this this social studies class that you're in, and you have syllabus, and you're going to be doing this week's project, next week's project, next following week, or you're going into a remodel of a house and you want to have this one project for remodels, and you're asking questions so it knows um, everything that has been asked previously before, right? It archives that information and can pull back from that information. What I use it for is a lot of the I have a paid subscription, so it's a little bit more robust, but I use it for a lot of my business stuff. So I need to write a letter, I can put in there my complaints, I can do my follow-up. It keeps all of the history for it, and I can reference any of that history in that one project. So I have multiple projects per entity that I'm working, or per problem, or per situation that I have to write about. So uh, Claude is definitely a great one. I've gotten my parents used to using the one inside of WhatsApp because we have family chat. I said, just go in WhatsApp and ask a question, right? You want to know how to convert gallons into milliliters? Go there, ask a question, right? So just some of my thoughts on AI. I know many of us are afraid of AI, but I wanted to take away some of the fear and let you know some of the history behind how it got started and some of the thoughts behind where it may be going. Let me address that. Where it may be going is unknown. Honestly, where it's going is unknown. I think it will change our structure of the U.S. and the way jobs are, everything is handled. So if you're not up on it now, you're not using it now, please start using it. Please start using it as a tool, like you use your coffee pot, like you use your screwdriver, like you use. Cause listen, you didn't have a coffee pot, but we used to boil water on the stove and simmer it down and pour it over all the stuff we use as tools. Microwave is a tool, right? You gotta heat your stuff up. So you can't be against some tools that have been innovative, and in today's society against all tools, right? So we went away from a black book having all of our phone numbers in it to a phone holding all of our phone numbers, right? I can just put in your first initial and last name and find your name now instead of going through the black book. Think of it as a tool. Start using it. Start testing it. Start playing with it. Ask it questions. Um, so let me try something real quick. This is on the fly. It's on the fly, real quick. I didn't plan on doing this. I'm gonna go to WhatsApp and let me turn on my media. Come on, on speaker. And I'm gonna go in WhatsApp. Okay, I'm gonna go into my phone and go into WhatsApp and try to do it here so you can hear it. I'm gonna ask the same question about President Obama and accomplishments. All right, let's try this. Can you give me 10 accomplishments of President Obama presidency? Rank them highest to lowest.
Here are 10 key accomplishments of President Obama's presidency, ranked in terms of their impact and significance. 1. The Affordable Care Act, which expanded healthcare coverage to millions of Americans. 2. The operation that killed Osama bin Laden, a major victory in the fight against terrorism. 3. Ending the war in Iraq, which marked a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy. 4. The Dodd-Frank financial reform, which aimed to regulate the financial sector. 5. Investing in renewable energy and addressing climate change. 6. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which allowed young undocumented immigrants to remain in the U.S. 7. The Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which helped to promote pay equity. 8. The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, a stimulus package that helped to stabilize the economy. 9. The repeal of Don't Ask. Don't Tell, which allowed LGBTQ individuals to serve openly in the military. 10. The Student Loan Reform Act, which made college more affordable for millions of students.
All right, so that was 10 answers that it gave me. I'm gonna stop that before it starts talking again. I always want to give you those examples that you can use this as a tool. Do not be afraid to use your tools out there. Don't be afraid to use your tools out there. Many of us, don't know about it, so we're scared of it. You hear certain things on the internet. Be generic, right? Be high level. Like I said, do not share any of your personal information, your credit card numbers, your medical information. But you can ask medical questions. You can give it certain numbers that you may have gotten back and say, how does this look for a male, 35 years old, whatever it is that you have. You can ask generic questions. Just don't give it your personal information. Like I said, I'm using I'm not using ChatGPT anymore. I'm using WhatsApp, which is Meta, which is Facebook, for my parents to get used to using it. I'm using Claude for my professional side, for me to use for writing corporate letters and follow-up, things like that in my corporate research. So just some things to think about. Gemini is also already tied into your Google account. If you have Google, that Gemini is already tied in. So just some things you may already have. Get used to using it. Hey, send me a note. Tell me how you're using AI. Tell me some of your fears of using AI. Tell me how you overcame some of those fears and some things you may have discovered. I'd love to hear more from you about your use of AI and how you've seen it change in the last 2 to 3 years and how you're using it. And some tips you may have for others to get over the fear of using AI. So we want to debunk some of the myths behind it and help others move into this 21st century. Shoot, time is moving fast. So help others move forward. It's your boy Cousin Ed. I'm out of here. I love each and every one of y'all. Nothing you can do about it. 762-333-2032. 762-333-2032. Be sure to join us on Substack. Cousin Ed's Corner on Substack. Subscribe there. I have some live episodes coming out from Substack, so be sure to subscribe there to get notifications. I'm out of here. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed's.